I know that this looks scary. I know that it looks like you're dealing with something crazy like a trigonometry formula, but it's not going to be that hard. The SAT doesn't really test that kind of stuff. It's a story, and it doesn't really fit a nice, story that we would get from a line or something in school. This is kind of a weird one, so I've categorized it that way. But it doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means we need to kind of look at the story and follow the instructions and do our best to kind of think about it. So let's look. What do they say? The figure on the left above shows a wheel with a mark on its rim. The wheel is rolling on the ground at a constant rate along a level straight path from a starting point to an ending point. So that's a wheel turning, rolling. The graph of y equals d of t on the right could represent which of the following is a function of time from when the wheel began to roll. So time is our x. So they're basically asking, what is y? What does this mean in the context of the story, right? So we have a graph that we don't really have a label for, and they're asking us for the label. So let's use process of elimination. Let's just go through and think about each of these situations and see if it makes sense for the story. So A, the speed at which the wheel is rolling. Well, that's really bad right away because it says it's going at a constant rate. Constant rate means that speed is not changing. So the speed is not going to go up and down because it can't. The story told me otherwise. So there you go. That's why we read. B, the distance of the wheel from its starting point. Well, again, think about what the graph is saying. The graph is saying that the distance starts away from its starting point. That doesn't even make any sense. And then what's happening? The wheel is going to its starting point and then leaving it again and then coming back and leaving it again. It doesn't make any sense because the story just says the wheel is rolling on the ground at a constant rate along a level straight path from a starting point to an ending point. It's moving from one place to another. It's not going back and forth. It doesn't say that. So it doesn't make sense for the distance to be anything other than just like a linear, right? The distance would be something like this, right? Because you're moving away from the starting point. All right, C, the distance of the mark on the rim from the center of the wheel. Well, again, that can't make any sense because look at the dot. The dot is on the rim. Why would the dot move towards the center? Right? It's a paint mark, right? It's a mark on its rim, so it's on the rim. And the way that circles work is that distance is going to be the radius, and it doesn't matter where the rolling is. The dot might be on top, might be on the bottom, but it's always on the edge. It's always outside of the circle, so that distance isn't going to change either. So that leaves us with D, the distance of the mark on the rim from the ground. Right? Look, the mark starts up top, but as the wheel rolls, right, that dot is going to move down and then hit the ground and then start to come back up, right? So it's going to, as the wheel rolls, the dot is going to go up and down and up and down and up and down as the wheel rolls. So that has to be the answer. Now notice that all we really cared about is the fact that it goes up and down, right? It goes up and down and up and down. I don't really care why this up and down looks this specific way, looks like a curve. This is, in fact, I guess like a cosine curve, kind of. I don't care why trigonometry is involved. It doesn't impact at all my answer choice, because the only thing that I'm deciding on is up and down, right? So this just goes to show, yes, there's more complicated mathematics going on that, if we understood it, would maybe help and show us exactly why the graph looks the way that it does. But I don't care. It's almost like in reading when we talk about dumb summaries, right? The dumb summary of the graph is up and down. So I'm using that dumb summary and comparing it with the choices and saying which one would also go up and down. The speed? No, it's a constant speed. The distance from the starting point? No, the distance is always going to go up because it's a distance from a starting point. the distance of the mark from the center of the wheel? No, because it's on the rim, it's always the same distance. And yes, the distance from the rim to the ground, it's going to go up and down because the wheel is rolling and the mark is rolling with it. So it makes sense. Don't get intimidated by this stuff. Just go through the choices, try to dumb it down as best you can. It's usually at least going to be the case that you can eliminate some bad answers and make a smarter guess. So you should definitely be trying something like this at least for a couple seconds before you move on to something else.